There we go. Hello, hello, hello. I was muted. Figuring I would jump on here today and finish this 12 rules of life thing. Give me 1 second though. This morning we recorded episode, I have no idea what episode number it was. We recorded an episode of Voice of the Broken this morning, Deadeye and I did. Carrie's currently out there editing it, so that'll be dropping on this channel at some point this week. The other day I was live, we did the first 6 of the 12 rules of life by Jordan B. Peterson. And this is literally me just sitting here hanging out with the chat, answering questions as I read these documents, because this is a lot more enjoyable than reading it by myself. So there's a part of me that feels like I should put the document up on the screen as well. So as I read, you guys can see the text, but if you guys are watching on a phone, you ain't gonna be able to see that shit anyway. So, so number 7, rule 7 is pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient. Hey, creatures. Jokingly, I almost made a t-shirt this morning that said, the power of Creech compels you. In this chapter, Peterson explores the difference between chasing short-term pleasure and committing to actions that create long-term meaning. Expediency refers to doing what is the easiest, most comfortable, or most immediately rewarding thing in the moment. Meaning, on the other hand, comes from responsibility, sacrifice, and working towards something that improves life for yourself and others. Peterson argues that people constantly face the choice between these two paths. I'd buy it. That's funny. It might happen. I want to try to get AI to morph us. Like, you know how you guys, everybody was doing the AI yourself thing where it was like, make a prompt for me, whatever the little cute little thing was. And it was, you'd upload a photo and it would basically just make you in your element. I think that her and I should do that and then morph it like an Alex Gray painting, because I think that would be super cool. Oh man, I didn't bring my water. I have to go grab my water. I will be right back, guys. All right. There's a part of me that knows the bagels on the counter are going to go bad because they're not closed. And there's a part of me that knows that I don't eat bagels. The kids do. And this is going to be a lesson to them when they go to eat those bagels tomorrow, and they're gross and hard. And then I'm going to go, well, I saw that they were left out on the counter all day without the thing on them yesterday. So now if you would like to eat those bagels, that's how it's going to be. And if you don't eat those bagels, they're going to sit there until they go bad before we buy new ones. And this is a life lesson. Put your shit away. Okay. Peterson connects this idea to ancient human recognition that life contains suffering. Pain, limitation, and tragedy are unavoidable parts of existence. Because of this, people must decide how they will confront that reality. The option is to pursue short-term relief from suffering through comfort, impulsive decisions, or selfish behavior. And then the other option is to voluntarily accept responsibility and sacrifice in order to create a life that has purpose and value. Hey, I'm new to Patreon and Discord. This is my first live that I've gotten to catch since I've joined. Well, hell yeah, welcome. Thank you for being here. This is not going to be super exciting. I'm just reading a document. This is part 2 of something else that we had done. So thank you for being here. I hope that this is not too entirely boring for you. This chapter also draws on religious and mythological stories about sacrifice. Peterson discusses the idea that human beings have long understood that giving up something valuable in the present can produce a better future. This principle shows up in everything from saving resources to building families and communities. Meaning emerges when people delay gratification, carry responsibility, and work towards goals that extend beyond their own immediate comfort. At its core, this chapter argues that A meaningful life is built through voluntary responsibility and sacrifice. Choosing the meaningful path often requires effort, discipline, and the willingness to endure discomfort. But those choices create purpose, stability, and direction. Pursuing only what is expedient may feel easier in the moment, but it often leads to emptiness and long-term suffering. Guys, as you guys are jumping in here and hanging out with me, I think I would be remiss to not let you know that Peaches has a bunk open on the women's retreat. And it literally just became available this morning. So if you guys are interested in doing a women's retreat, that is available. tobebetter.com if that's something that you're interested in. All right. The first point is that expediency prioritizes short-term relief over long-term well-being. Expedient choices are the ones that feel the easiest in the moment. They avoid responsibility. I read this already. Did I move my mouse? What's happening here? The second point is meaning comes from responsibility. And this is the 5 points, right? Yep. Okay. So on all of these documents, guys, I did 5 points of the chapter so that you guys don't have to read the entire thing. It's just kind of there. And then I have some deeper underlying things. So that was the first point. The second point is that meaning comes from responsibility and sacrifice. Peterson explains that people experience meaning when they voluntarily accept burdens that improve their life for themselves. Raising children, building something worthwhile, helping others, and then committing to long-term goals that involve sacrifice. Meaning grows out of the willingness to carry those responsibilities. I attended the first women's retreat and it was life-changing. Highly recommend attending if you're able to. Yeah, definitely worth attending if you guys have the ability. I am definitely not afraid to displease people. People don't like me already and there's nothing I can do about that. So I'm not going to beg people to vibe with me. I'm either your cup of tea or I'm not, and I'm okay with that. The third point is human beings must confront suffering rather than escape it. Peterson emphasizes that suffering is unavoidable in life. Because of that, people must decide how they will respond to it. Some attempt to escape suffering through comfort, distraction, and impulsive behavior, while others confront it by building purpose and responsibility into their lives. The fourth point is delayed gratification builds a better future. Peterson discusses the ancient human understanding that sacrificing something today can create something better tomorrow. This principle appears in everything from saving food or water to investing time in education, work, or family. Choosing long-term meaning requires the ability to delay immediate rewards. And then the fifth point is moral integrity emerges when people choose meaning over convenience. When someone consistently chooses the harder path that leads to growth and responsibility, they develop character. Those choices also shape identity and create a sense of purpose that cannot be achieved through comfort alone. Peterson uses religion, psychology, and history throughout the entire chapter, but those discussions repeatedly circle these deeper ideas about how human beings confront suffering to build purpose. The first underlying theme here is the inevitability of suffering. He argues that pain, limitation, tragedy, and uncertainty are unavoidable parts of life. Because suffering cannot be eliminated, the real question becomes how a person chooses to face it. One response is to avoid, the other is to accept. The second theme is sacrifice as a foundational human principle. He spends time discussing how ancient cultures understood the idea of sacrificing something valuable now in order to gain something better later. The principle appears in religious stories, economic behavior, and personal development. The willingness to sacrifice short-term pleasure for long-term benefit is one of the fundamental building blocks of a meaningful life. The third theme underneath of all of this is responsibility as the source of purpose. Peterson argues that meaning does not come from comfort or pleasure alone. It emerges when people voluntarily accept responsibility that benefits themselves and others. Caring for family, building something valuable, helping others, and then contributing to society all create meaning because they require commitment and effort. This is about service to others. It's wild to see how the underlying message of so many different teachings is ultimately the same. This is similar to the Buddhist train of thought that suffering is inevitable. Absolutely. Absolutely. What was it? Nietzsche that said, and then Tupac actually, I think, reset it. To live is to suffer. What was it? How did he say that? To live is to suffer. And then something is to find meaning in the suffering. I don't remember. The fourth theme is the moral struggle between selfishness and higher values. The chapter explores the tension between acting purely in self-interest and choosing actions that serve something larger than oneself. Expedient decisions often serve immediate personal comfort, while meaningful decisions usually require discipline, integrity, and concern for the future. That's it on that one. Guys, I highly recommend that you guys actually read this book, because he adds a whole lot of stuff in there that is, really laid out well. It's about how you choose to move through life and its suffering, moving with the flow of life rather than fighting against it. Service to others is service to yourself. Yeah, it absolutely is. The idea that you are not going to suffer, or that you can somehow negate that suffering, is wild to me. And suffering is going to look like different things in different seasons of your life, right? Like, everybody knows what suffering is. I don't need to give you guys examples of that, but it's going to happen. You can just simply accept that this is a part of life, and having that suffrage makes the good times so much more sweeter because you have something to compare it to. Maxer, this is Jordan B. Peterson's 12 Rules of Life. Rule 8 is tell the truth, or at least don't lie. In this chapter, Peterson focuses on the role truth plays in shaping both personal character and the structure of society. His argument is that lies, even small ones, distort reality. When someone lies to others or to themselves, they begin constructing a false version of the world. Over time, that distortion, I like that he uses the distortions a lot in some of this, grows and eventually leads to confusion, resentment, and destructive outcomes. Truth, by contrast, aligns a person with reality and allows them to navigate life more effectively. Hello, Halen. Peterson explains that lying is often tempting because it can provide short-term advantages. Man, watching the latest service and then watching the Taylor whatever video was a lot for today. I'm glad to have this live because some hammer content. Hammer content? I don't know what that means. I don't know what hammer content is. People lie to avoid conflict, escape responsibility, gain status, or manipulate situations in their favor. But these shortcuts come at a cost. Every lie requires additional lies to maintain the illusion, and eventually the false structure collapses. When someone repeatedly chooses dishonesty, they will gradually lose their ability to see reality clearly. Another thing that it's important to remember with lying, guys, is the more lies you tell, the harder it is to remember your story. Because you're not remembering what happened, you're remembering or trying to recall the bullshit weave that you've spun. And the other people are going to remember it better than you because they are taking you for your word as truth. And then when it comes back up again and the story changes, they're going to catch you in your bullshit. That's actually, and this is not really something that's going to be good for you guys, but that's actually why people say the best lie is one that involves like 60-70% truth, because it's a lot easier to remember. This chapter also explores the idea that truth is not only a personal virtue, but a social necessity. Communication, cooperation, and trust depend on honesty. When people commit to telling the truth, even when it is uncomfortable, they create relationships and communities that can function properly. Truth allows problems to be addressed directly instead of being hidden beneath layers of deception. This is why I made that video the other day where I was telling you guys that so many people have problems in their relationships because they're not honest. They are so quick to have a sugar-coated conversation because they don't want to hurt their person that they fail to speak the needs of what's actually going on. And then they find themselves both in a perpetual loop of not having their needs met. It's better to have a conversation once and feel the discomfort of that conversation for a day, a couple hours, whatever the case may be, than to have 6 or 7 months of beating around the bush, allowing that thing to snowball into become a much bigger problem, and then have fights on top of that snowball that has nothing to do with the actual problem is, and then you wonder why you can't get along because it's the same fucking shit in rotation. As someone who used lies when I was younger, I agree. Thing is, though, now I can tell when someone is BSing me. Yeah, I mean, that's, as you get wiser, it's a lot easier to tell that people are fucking lying to you. This chapter also explores that the idea that truth is not only a personal virtue. I read that. At its core, this rule is about integrity. Peterson argues that speaking truthfully, even refusing to participate in lies, strengthens both the individual and the society around them. Even when honesty creates short-term difficulty, it prevents long-term chaos that grows from deception. So again, the first point is that lies corrupt your perception of reality. The second point is that self-deception is one of the most dangerous forms of dishonesty. He emphasizes that people can often lie to themselves before they lie to others. They rationalize bad behavior, avoid uncomfortable truths, or rewrite events to protect their ego. This kind of self-deception prevents growth because it blocks honest self-examination. The third point is truth allows problems to be confronted directly. This is what I was just talking about with the conversations. When people speak honestly about situations, even difficult ones, it creates the possibility of solving those problems, where lies hide problems temporarily but allow them to grow beneath the surface. This is literally what I just gave you guys. I'd rather be truthful and not beat around the bush, so my words means everything to me now. It should. Your words should mean everything. 12-step program kicked my ass into truth telling. It's good. It's also good. The fourth point is that small lies accumulate into larger chaos. He argues that deception rarely stays small. One lie requires another to maintain the story, and eventually the false structure becomes so complex that it collapses. And the fifth point is that truth requires courage and responsibility. The other underlying themes of this chapter is that alignment with reality. Peterson argues that truth is not just a moral virtue, it is a way of staying properly oriented in the world. For those of you who are members of the church that we created, this is about positive and negative distortions. It's about staying in alignment and maintaining unity. When someone tells the truth, they keep their words, perceptions, and actions aligned with what actually exists. Lies break that alignment. Over time, a person who lies repeatedly begins living inside of a distorted reality that becomes harder and harder to manage. The second theme here is the moral power of speech. Peterson emphasizes that words shape how people understand situations and then dictates how they make decisions. Speaking truthfully is therefore a form of responsibility. Honest speech allows problems to be addressed and relationships to function, whereas dishonest speech manipulates perception and often leads others to confusion or harm. The third theme is integrity of character. Peterson suggests that a person's character is built through the choices that they repeatedly make. When someone commits to honesty, even when it is uncomfortable, their thoughts, words, and actions begin to align. That alignment creates stability and then strength in the individual. When someone lies frequently, their character becomes fragmented because they must constantly maintain different versions of the truth. So that's the end of that one. Going to 9. Guys, if you are not members of the Awakened Consciousness Church, we created a church that is based off of the Hermetic principles, the law of one, and Christ consciousness. And you do not have to join the Patreon or Discord to be a member. You can join it for free by signing up on the website. The Zoom calls that we do every week is emailed out. If you get the email, you can participate in it so that you don't have to pay to be a member of the church. However, we do have a Discord that's got its own Patreon that is really fucking cool. I have posted the link to the chat, the church and the chat if you guys would like to dig into that. Number 9, this is a really good rule for me because I have a hard time listening to people that are not where I want to be in life. And this rule is assume that the person you are listening to might know something that you do not. In this chapter, Peterson explores the value of genuine listening and the role that it plays in thinking clearly, learning from others. His argument is that conversation is not just a way to express your own opinions. It is a process through which people refine their thinking and uncover truth together. This is why we tell people all the time that you should never agree with somebody 100%. I signed up on the website and didn't receive a Zoom links for the last 2 services. There's a new thing on the website. Chris just went through and did a whole lot of work on the website. So when you log into the website now, I believe there should be a tab at the top that says services. Nope. How about stay updated? We're going to have to change the title of that, but there's a tab at the top that says stay updated. that should take you to a different page. Maybe it's because I'm already logged in. I don't know. There should be a thing on there for you to be able to fill out, and it give you that. You have to actually opt in for the emails. For some reason, it wasn't opting people in, but we worked on it today, and it should be working now. Let me try it from a different browser. Yeah, when you click on it now, when you click on stay updated, it'll do the thing. And if you are in the Discord, every church sermon that we have done is still in the church Discord server under weekly services. I upload the service, I upload the document that we read, and then the one or two other documents that I read from that are like my weekly thoughts and challenges all go in there. So as people join the church and they're coming in, they can go back and watch older services and then still get the information and continue to try to grow and evolve and do the thing. So trying to really make sure that you guys are gaining something out of all of this. Anyways, he goes on to say that it is a process that through which people refine their thinking and uncover truth together. So what I was saying is this is why we say that you should never agree with somebody 100%. If Peaches and I have a disagreement and we are able to calmly, lovingly, respectfully have a discussion about what it is that we disagree on, you can provide valuable opinions in a way that articulate your side of things without being harmful or attacking or putting people on edge. And having those conversations and that back and forth is how new opinions are formed. It's how we learn to see things in a different manner. So, when someone approaches a conversation believing they already know everything important, they stop learning. By assuming that the other person may know something you don't, you remain open to the new information and perspectives. Peterson also emphasizes that many people do not truly listen during conversations. Instead, they wait for their turn to speak while internally preparing their next argument. Real listening requires patience and humility. It involves allowing the other person to fully express their thoughts and considering that their experience might reveal something that you have not yet understood. This approach does not mean agreeing with everyone or everything that someone says. It simply means recognizing that another person's perspective may contain valuable insight. Another way to utilize this lesson is to probe when people are saying things, even if you already think you understand, ask them why or how, so that you can get a different view of things. All right. So at its core, the rule is about humility in conversation. When people approach discussions with curiosity instead of certainty, they create space for learning, growth, and deeper understanding. Conversations become less about winning arguments and more about discovering what is true. So the 5 core ideas underneath of this is, the first point is real listening is rare. Most people are not actually listening when someone else speaks. They are waiting for their turn to talk, preparing a response, or defending their own beliefs internally. He argues that this prevents genuine understanding and blocks the opportunity to learn from others. I try so very hard to maintain eye contact when someone else is talking without being too creepy. You don't always have to maintain eye contact. Some of us have spicy brain that makes the eye contact very uncomfortable for us. And when we hyperfixate on trying to maintain eye contact, we're not able to focus. We lose the ability to actually pay attention. If you go back and watch the first episodes of the podcast, I had a fidget spinner and I had to have things to tinker with to stay engaged and hyperfixating on what was happening because I couldn't focus on what was going on. And I eventually got past that. I still find myself fidgeting. Normally it's my toes with the cables, but you can't see it on screen anymore. I found a way to kind of hide it, masking. The second point is conversation is a process of thinking together. Peterson explains that people often discover what they think, what they truly think by speaking and refining their ideas through dialogue. When people genuinely listen to each other, the conversation becomes a collaborative search for clarity rather than a competition. Third point is that every person has experiences that you do not. Each individual carries knowledge shaped by their background, struggles, and life experience. Because of this, even if you disagree with someone, they may possess insight or perspective that you have not yet considered. I'm actually going to make my men's group reread this. The fourth point is humility makes learning possible. Assuming you might be wrong or that someone else might know something valuable keeps the mind open. I touched on that. And then the last one is being heard helps people process their thoughts. Peterson discusses how listening carefully allows others to organize their ideas and confront their own experiences more clearly. In the sense, listening is not passive, it actively helps the other person think. This is why therapy works. Because there's somebody there that is completely engaged while the other person is getting all their shit out. This is also why journaling works. So I started journaling every morning again as part of my morning ritual now again, which is nice. So taken together, this chapter argues that honest conversation requires humility, patience, and curiosity. When people truly listen to one another, dialogue becomes a tool for discovering truth rather than simply defending opinions. Several deeper themes run underneath of Rule 9. Beyond the obvious point about listening, Peterson uses this chapter to explore how thinking, conversation, and truth develop through interaction with others. One important theme here is thinking through speech. He suggests that many people do not fully know what they think until they attempt to say it out loud. Speaking forces ideas to take shape. During conversation, a person often realizes contradictions, weaknesses, or new insights in their own thinking. And in that sense, dialogue is not just communication, it is a tool that helps people refine their understanding of reality. This is why I talk to Peaches out loud all the time about my shit. And she knows when I'm just venting or if I'm just talking to talk, you know. Give me 1 second, guys. I actually want to tell my men's group that they need to reread this book. Just got a new member to the church. Somebody just signed back up. I love that. All right. So what is next month? April. April's book is 12 Rules of Life. And I'll get the journal prompt together in a bit. Okay. Another theme is the limits of individual knowledge. Peterson emphasizes that no single person has a complete understanding of the world. Each person's perspective is partial and shaped by their own experiences. This is us reminding you guys on the podcast all the fucking time that the people in your life has a universe inside of them. Their lived life experience made their universe shaped different than yours did. Then when you guys realize that, it's a lot easier to have a loving, honest conversation with people because you realize how much different you are from each other. As soon as I'm not driving, I'm signing up for the church. Hell yeah. If you get into the Patreon or the Discord, the previous church sermons are all in there. And we have a pretty dope little community. We've got almost 100 people in there already. A third theme is the role of humility in learning. Peterson argues that arrogance closes the door of growth. If someone enters a conversation assuming they are already right, they cannot absorb new information. And then the therapeutic power of listening. Peterson draws on his background as a clinical psychologist to explain that when someone feels genuinely heard, they often begin to process their own thoughts and emotions more clearly. And then finally, this chapter touches on truth emerging through dialogue. Peterson suggests that truth is often discovered through honest conversation where people test ideas against each other respectfully. When both participants are willing to listen and adjust their views, the conversation can move closer to a clearer understanding of reality. So we can close that. Go to 10. We also do all of our calls, like all of our church services are on Zoom, and we are getting community interaction out of it. If you are in the Discord, you will see that we do weekly questions. I'll give you guys what last week's question was since we've already answered it and it won't be brought back up again. Let me move the Discord over here so I can see what the fuck I'm doing. Last week's question was, actually, let's go to the week before. That was a journal prompt. Nope. Yesterday's question was, within the law of one in Christ consciousness, how do you deal with manipulative or abusive people who intend you harm? The Bible tells you to turn the other cheek, to love unconditionally, and the law of one says that we are all one, that there is no true separation between you and another. So where is the line? At what point does love stop being in alignment and start becoming self-abandonment? What does it actually mean to turn the other cheek? Is it conscious restraint or silent permission for self-harm or for harm? Can you recognize the divinity in someone while still choosing distance, boundaries, or even complete removal? If we are all one and are you honoring that unity by tolerating abuse or distorting it by allowing harm to continue unchecked? And we do those every week so that when we get into the Zoom call, we can have interactions with people. And I think it's pretty beneficial. Yep, I do. I think it's pretty beneficial. All right. Rule 10. Be precise in your speech. In this chapter, Peterson explores the importance of clearly defining and articulating problems rather than allowing them to remain vague and undefined. This is what I was talking about earlier. He argues that when people avoid naming their problems directly, those problems tend to grow larger and more chaotic. Unclear language often reflects unclear thinking. And when somebody refuses to define what is actually wrong, they lose the ability to address it effectively. Em and I had a good talk about the sandwich question to this weekend in service and the extent of it. Yeah, how did that go? I like the discussion aspect. Me too, because it's building the community. And then hanging out last night after the service and just interacting with people was really fucking cool for me too. It totally filled my cup. And then we also do integration. So for those of you who don't know, we have our church is a sacred sacrament church. We do have mushroom ceremonies as part of the church. And part of that after the ceremony thing is integration. And I know that a lot of you are using the sacred sacrament for your own, ceremonies at home. Having that integration, if you're a member of the church every week, is a really big thing because you need to integrate and you need to be able to start moving the things that you go through while in your ceremonies into your day-to-day life to improve. It's how you get the spiritual healing that you're looking for. It is live. Yes, it is. It is live. We are on the Voice of the Broken channel, just hanging out. Peterson explains that people often avoid precision because it can be uncomfortable. Being precise requires confronting reality. It forces a person to acknowledge exactly what is wrong in a relationship, a job, or even in their own behavior. Whereas vague complaints are easier because they allow someone to express dissatisfaction without taking accountability or identifying what the real issue is. However, when problems remain unidentified, they cannot be solved or undefined. What do you mean by integrate? What I mean by integrate is, let's say a really good example of this is we had somebody who had a vision while they were in the medicine. And one of the things that they came into was them looking in a pond, reflecting their life back into their face, their image back into their face. And, they were speculating on what that could have meant. And they're talking about what's happened in their life since they had that ceremony. And having that conversation is almost like therapy. It starts to put things back into perspective for you. It allows opinions of what that could have possibly meant. You look into things like, I was able to forgive my abusers. What does that mean for you now? Does that mean that you can, start living your life from a more loving position? There's a whole lot of things that go into all of the integration aspect. That's such an individual thing. But it is a group environment, a group setting. I don't know how else to explain that. I hope that made sense to you. It went really well. We both acknowledged the intention or lack thereof in sharing the sandwich is what defines it being a selfish or selfless act. In all honesty, I have lost my faith, but from what I have heard about the church, it may be what I need to help me find my way back. It might be. I mean, the worst case scenario, you jump into a couple services and it's not for you. Our church is not a religious doctrine like Christianity or Catholicism or anything like that. We have a very open foundation. There are people that are part of our church that are from all walks of life. The goal is to level up who you are as a person and spiritual standings. Jesus said you will recognize a fruit by the tree. And if we're putting off bad fruit, then the fruit's not for you. That's really what it comes down to. So I would love to see you in a service that, if you sign up on the website, we have one coming on Sunday. I mean, we just had one yesterday. If you join the Discord, the Patreon, for the church, all the services that we've done along with documents are there. Okay, this chapter also explores how small problems can accumulate when they are ignored. Minor frustrations in relationships, workspaces, and personal habits often grow into major conflicts when people avoid addressing them directly. Peterson encourages people to speak clearly about what they see, what they want, and what needs to change. Precision brings problems into the open where they can be examined and resolved. At its core, this rule is about clarity and even courage. When someone speaks precisely, they make the world more understandable for themselves and for others. Clear language helps identify real problems, set boundaries, and it creates the possibility for meaningful solutions. Avoiding precision may feel easier in the moment, but it allows confusion and resentment to build beneath the surface. I just need the community and the acceptance, which I know you guys can offer with open arms. Yeah, then you need to get in there. It did. Thank you. Good. I'm glad that it made sense. There's a whole lot of information on the microdosing thing in there as well. I'm personally pagan, Norse pagan. I was Norse pagan for a long time. I have runes tattooed all over my body. Anyways, 5 core ideas that sit underneath of Rule 10. Be precise in your speech. Peterson uses personal stories, psychology, and philosophy throughout the chapter. The first point is vagueness hides problems. When people speak in generalities or about what is wrong in their life, they avoid identifying the actual issue. Saying that everything is terrible or nothing is wrong prevents meaningful action because the problem has not been clearly defined. The second point is precision makes problems manageable. When someone clearly names the specific issue, it becomes something that can be addressed. A vague sense of chaos can be overwhelming, but a clearly identified problem can be examined and solved step by step. I don't get great cell service in my motorhome, but next time I'm going to be somewhere with a stable connection so I can be on camera and share as well. Fuck yeah. I love that. If you're in the church server though, please go back and actually watch the previous services. I think that, we've done a lot. We do breath work on those services. We do guided meditation. I think we're going to change it up. I think we're going to do breath work first, then the service, then guided meditation, and then the hangout afterwards on Sunday, but we'll see. And then we do integration every Wednesday night. So on the weird events that we have church services on Wednesday, moving forward, we're just going to move from service right into integration. And we're going to go that route. But the third point is avoiding precision allows resentment to grow. He explains that many conflicts in relationships develop because people fail to speak honestly about what's bothering them. The fourth point is truthful and clear speech requires courage. Being precise often means confronting uncomfortable realities. It may involve admitting a mistake, setting a boundary, or addressing a difficult situation directly. They are doing amazing at services. Thank you for that. The fifth point is clear language. The fifth point is clear language creates order out of chaos. When people describe reality accurately, they bring structure back into situations that would otherwise remain confusing. Oh my God, I'm screaming. The buff bell spoke to me. I am 1000% going to get back into the 2BB Discord as well as the churches. Fuck yeah. Can't wait to see you over there. 3 deeper themes that run underneath of Rule 10. Bell, you're going to April, right? Because if so, I have been invited. I am allowed to go to the women's retreat. I am going to be allowed to help in the seminar that she's doing. So if you'll actually be there in April, I'll get to see you then. It's been, it hasn't been that long, but it feels like it's been forever since we've fucking all hung out. Also, again, there is a bed available at the women's retreat in April if you guys want to go. The first theme is confronting chaos by naming it. Peterson often frames life as balance between order and chaos. Chaos appears when problems are unidentified. Hopefully, if everything goes well, I'm going to have to bring you a jar of honey. I'm not going to get into that right now. When you name a problem clearly, you reduce the chaos surrounding it, and it creates the possibility of addressing it directly. The second theme is responsibility and communication. Words shape how people understand situations and how they respond to them. When someone speaks vaguely or avoids saying what they really mean, they contribute to the confusion in relationships and the environments that they're in. Women's retreat bunk is $600. Yep, it is. It's $600 for the women's retreat bunk. That includes your food for the weekend. You still got to pay for travel to get there, but that you just have to show up. Everything is included unless you want something to drink other than water. We're not buying like fucking sodas and shit. Well, there'll be Coke Zero there because that's what she drinks, but Okay, so the third theme is courage to face uncomfortable truth. Precision in speech forces people to acknowledge reality rather than hide behind the ambiguity. I love that word, ambiguity. That can mean admitting a mistake, identifying a problem in a relationship, or recognizing that something in life is not working. Peterson argues that avoiding those truths allow problems to grow, while confronting them clearly creates the opportunity for change. At its core, this chapter suggests that clarity in speech reflects clarity in thinking. When people speak precisely about reality, they make it possible to understand problems and begin restoring order in their lives. That is number 10. We got 2 more of these, and then I'm going to just hang out and bullshit with you guys because I don't have anything else going on right now. Rule 11, do not bother children when they are skateboarding. In this chapter, Peterson discusses the importance of allowing young people, especially boys, to take risks and develop competence through challenge. He argues that modern culture often overprotects children, attempting to eliminate danger and discomfort from their lives. While the intention may be safety, the result can be the opposite. When children are not allowed to face manageable risks, they lose opportunities to develop confidence, resilience, and skill. He uses skateboarding as a symbol of this process because when kids attempt something difficult or slightly dangerous, they are testing their limits. They learn through trial and error, failure and correction. This process builds competence and courage. And if adults constantly intervene to remove every risk, children may grow up, lacking the ability to navigate a challenge and uncertainty later in life. This chapter also explores the broader cultural tendencies and suppress competition, physicality, and assertiveness, particularly in boys. Peterson argues that these traits are not inherently harmful when they are guided properly. They contribute to strength, leadership, and responsibility. Attempting to eliminate these traits entirely can leave young people without the tools they need to handle adversity. It also makes them pussies. It's really what it comes down to. At its core, this rule is about the value of voluntarily. At its core, the rule is about the value of voluntary challenge. Growth requires confronting difficulty and risk. When children are given space to test themselves and learn from failure, they develop the competence and confidence needed to navigate the real world. So the 5 core rules underneath of this chapter is competence develops through risk and failure. Children learn physical skill, judgment, and confidence by attempting difficult things, failing, adjusting, and then trying again as part of the learning process. Removing all risk removes the opportunity to develop those abilities. You will end up with slave mind type people as they get older who cannot freely think, that cannot problem solve, and you will find yourself in a very difficult life situation because somebody did not allow you to fail and try. The difference between successful people and people who have never made success is that successful people have failed more than you have tried. That's the truth of it. The second point is overprotection weakens development. Peterson argues that when adults constantly intervene to eliminate every possible danger, children are prevented from building resilience. Shielding them from difficulty may feel productive in the moment, but it can leave them unprepared for real challenges later in life. As someone who grew up with an overprotective single mom, I agree. Controlled risk for younger people is necessary. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. The amount of times that they're doing something stupid and she goes to intervene and I'm like, just let this play out. Just let it happen. Just watch. It happens. And then somebody cries and then they get over the cry and then they get back on and they do the thing. Third point is boys in particular often need physical challenges and competition. Peterson discusses how traits like aggression, competitiveness, and risk-taking can be constructive when properly guided. These tendencies help young people develop courage, leadership, and confidence. Attempting to suppress them entirely can create frustration and confusion. The fourth point underlying all of this is that confidence grows in mastery. When children practice difficult skills and gradually improve, they develop a sense of capability. That feeling of competence becomes the foundation for tackling bigger challenges in adulthood. And then the fifth point is that life inevitably contains danger. Peterson emphasizes that the goal is not to eliminate risk, but to learn how to navigate it responsibly. And then the 4 deeper themes that I've got for this chapter. The first theme is that development of competence comes through voluntary challenge. Peterson argues that people become confident not through protection, but through mastering difficult tasks. When children attempt something challenging, fall, and try again, they learn how to adapt and improve. I do that with my dude. I just let his dad handle it. He's harder than me, but I want my son to be a man. That's it. That's all you can do. The second theme is the role of risk in healthy development. Peterson emphasizes that risk cannot be eliminated from life. Instead of trying to remove every potential danger, young people need opportunities to experience. I read that already. Ha! The third one, constructive side of aggression and assertiveness. Peterson discusses how traits like competitiveness, boldness, and physical assertiveness are criticized in modern culture, particularly in boys. However, these traits are valuable when directed properly. They contribute to courage, leadership, and the ability to confront adversity. I read that already. The danger of overprotection. When adults constantly intervene to remove every obstacle or challenge, they may unintentionally weaken a child's development. And at its core, this chapter argues that strength emerges when young people are allowed to test themselves against difficulty. Growth requires challenge and learning to handle risk responsibly. All right, going on to number 12, the final rule. This one is pet a cat when you encounter one on the street. In this final chapter, Peterson reflects on the reality of suffering is an unavoidable part of life. Illness, loss, tragedy, hardship touch everyone eventually. Rather than pretending that life is purely positive or controllable, Peterson encourages readers to acknowledge that difficulty is built into the human experience, much of the chapter draws from his personal experiences with illness, and then his family is the emotional weight that comes with confronting suffering directly. This whole this pet a cat when you encounter one on the street was a very big conversation at the men's retreat. Deadeye asked all the men how often they stop and smell the flowers. We are so trying to just get to the fucking point. We want to get to the destination. We want success. We want the thing that we forget to live our lives. And like I've said on the podcast over and over again, everything that we do is preparation for the next step. And very rarely do we actually sit back and like take it in, right? Celebrate your wins and your victories and like enjoy your fucking life for a minute. So despite that reality, the chapter is not about despair. Peterson argues that even in the middle of hardship, moments of meaning, beauty, and peace still exist. The small experiences that bring calm or appreciation can become powerful reminders that life still contains value. The image of petting a cat represents those brief moments when someone pauses, notices something simple and good, and then allows themselves to experience it fully in the moment. Peterson suggests that these small moments matter more than people often realize. When life becomes overwhelming, the ability to recognize simple experiences of peace, kindness, or beauty can help people remain grounded instead of becoming consumed by suffering. They learn to notice that small things that remind them that life is still worth engaging with. At its core, this chapter encourages a balanced view of life. Suffering is real and cannot be avoided, but it does not eliminate the presence of meaning, connection, or moments of quiet joy. By learning to notice and appreciate those moments, people can maintain resilience even while facing the difficulties that life inevitably brings. So the points of this chapter is that suffering is unavoidable in life, that life still contains moments of beauty and peace, that attention determines what you experience. I'm going to read this point out because it's valid. Peterson argues that people often become so focused on problems that they overlook the meaningful or positive aspects of their life that are still present. Training yourself to notice small moments of calm or beauty can change how life feels even when circumstances are difficult. Guys, you can find a silver lining in everything, and that's how you change a problem into an opportunity. I am somebody that believes that everything that I have control over is not a problem. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to learn. It's an opportunity for me to attempt to do something different. Maybe this is the level up that's coming in my life. Maybe this is the next step into things. There's a whole lot that goes into all of that, but it takes a positive mindset to do it. It takes slowing down and looking at the situation and go, okay, well, is there room for growth here? Yeah. Fourth point is gratitude for small moments builds resilience. When someone learns to appreciate simple experiences, they develop the ability to remain emotionally grounded during challenging time, and those small moments provide relief and perspective. I'm not going to read the three deeper points on that. You guys get it. I do have like a final thought on all of this, and I'm just going to read this real quick. Throughout the course of this book, there are a few really important things that you should have noticed. First is the balance between order and chaos. Peterson returns to this constantly. Chaos represents uncertainty, possibility, risk, and the unknown, whereas order represents structure, stability, rules, responsibility, and the known world. A healthy life requires navigating between the two. Too much order leads to rigidity and stagnation. Too much chaos leads to instability and suffering. Many of the rules are really about learning how to stand at that boundary and handle both. The second is the theme of voluntary responsibility. Peterson argues that meaning does not come from comfort or pleasure. It comes from the willingness to carry responsibility. Raising children, building something worthwhile, telling the truth, maintaining discipline, helping others. These things are hard, but they provide a sense of purpose that makes suffering bearable. Across the book, he repeatedly suggests that the best antidote to despair is taking responsibility for something meaningful. Another major thread is the reality of suffering and how to face it. He does not try to pretend that life is easy or purely positive. Illness, loss, tragedy, and struggle are all part of the human experience. The question the book keeps asking is how people respond to that reality. Some respond with resentment, avoidance, or nihilism. Others confront suffering directly and try to build meaning in spite of it. It's been difficult for me to stop and smell the flowers lately. I am working on it. Good. My hubs is an on-the-road driver, so it's just me a lot of the time being the soft mother and teaching them to be strong. Tough boys at the same time is hard to balance sometimes, but they need it. It's hard to balance all the time because nobody wants to see their parent gets hurt. The difference is men do really dangerous, stupid shit and survive it. So we are willing to let our children jump on the bed because if they fall and bust their face open and get stitches, they'll learn not to do that again. Or the next time they'll do it in a safer environment, right? Peaches and I went dirt biking for the first time, and like I got on my e-bike and I just did my fucking thing. And she's like, "How do I do this?" And I was like, "It's just like going downstairs on a bicycle." And she's like, "I've never fucking gone downstairs on a bicycle," and it blew my mind. Took me all the way the fuck back. I was like, "What do you mean you've never ridden downstairs on a bicycle? Weren't you a kid?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm a fucking girl, dude." So like, those things matter. Another theme that is incremental improvement. Peterson does not argue that people must transform their lives overnight. Instead, he encourages small corrections applied consistently over time. Clean up the habit, fix one problem, tell one truth, fix a difficult situation, improve one small part of your life. These changes accumulate and gradually reshape a person's character and circumstances. Finally, this book is deeply concerned with the development of character. Many of the rules are really about shaping how a person behaves in the world. Courage, discipline, humility, honesty, responsibility, and the willingness to confront reality. If you guys have not done your core values or non-negotiables, let me know. They develop through choices, habits, and the willingness to face difficulty instead of avoiding it. This book is not really about 12 isolated rules. It's about how a person chooses to face life. Life contains suffering, uncertainty, and difficulty, and the rules that Peterson attempts to offer provides guidance on how to confront those realities with responsibility, honesty, courage, and meaning. At the deepest level, I think that this book asks one question over and over again, and that is, how do you live a meaningful life in a world that contains unavoidable suffering? So that's my 12 rules of life series. I guess you could call it a series. If you want to call it a series, I don't know. I didn't purposely go downstairs on a bike. It was an accident, and I barely made it down in one piece. That's funny. I just did parkour in abandoned buildings, but I guess that works. I mean, it does. You guys are doing hard things. There's risk involved. I'm going to move the chat back over here because I like this better. You guys got me for a little bit. I got nothing else going on. I'm going to hang out with you for a bit, so... Haley, we had a couple of men at the men's retreat who are over-the-road truckers who are going home after that retreat and finding new jobs. One of the guys is away from home 6 days a week, and he's quitting and going to FedEx so that he can be home every night. I really feel like I made a lot of headway for these guys. I really changed a lot of their perspectives and their opinions on shit, and I wish I could lock this like halfway. Oh, there you go. Hell yeah. I posted about the church and it throttled me. What do you mean it throttled you? Oh, yeah. It does that. Social media does not want us doing anything that's going to improve our lives. They want drama, ugly, and hate. I haven't done core values in totality, although I've thought about it some. Oh, come on, Mike. Dude, come on. You've had plenty of time to get this done. It's been like, I've known you for what? Over a year now, almost 2 years now, and you haven't gotten your core values done? Core values and non-negotiables matter, man. How do you know who you are if you don't know what it is that you will not tolerate and what it is that you truly, truly stand for? Have a good day, MK Moon Maven. Thanks for hanging out. Oh, man. Oh. Yeah. That's the move. Oh, I'm sore already. Oh, that's going to be bad. Tomorrow's going to suck. Oh, it's just the one side. Oh, I have imbalances, guys. I hate this. Have done core values. Feels like I'm missing some. Need to define my non-negotiables. How many core values do you have? Realistically, you only need like 3 to 5. I personally have 7 because 7 is a God number. I was going to go to 12, but trying to remember all 12 of my core values, I probably wouldn't have been able to do. Haley said, I know that you and Peach have changed my perspective on so many things. You helped me see some major issues with myself and change them in my marriage. It's gotten so much better. Fuck yeah. Danish said, I really only get on TikTok anymore to 2BB comment section. I stopped making videos, really. You're old. I'm not old. I'm sore. I did back today for the first time in 7 months. And back is one of those things that I had to really focus on when I was training it in the beginning to learn how to operate my back muscles individually and like really contract. And because I put so much time into learning how to really contract my back, it doesn't matter what I do on back day. I fucking get wrecked. It sucks. Unless it's my dog content. I've seen some of your dog content. How many people are still hanging out with me? 36. I have tried a lot to understand, but what's the difference between morals and values? I mean, it depends on what the core value is, right? Lying. If one of your non-negotiable is that you refuse to be around liars and you don't lie, your core value for that non-negotiable would be integrity or honor, right? And that's not a moral, that's an actionable way that you live your life. There are obviously some things that go that will overlap with morals and values. Could you define what the concept core values means? Forgive my ignorance, but I want to be sure I understand what exactly you mean by it. Well, I did that already. I literally just did that, but there's a delay, so you're probably getting that now as I'm talking. I shoveled gravel for 4 hours. Does that count as back day? It depends on how you're shoveling. How's the gym going? Today was 1 week back in the gym since the men's retreat. It's going well. I'm down 2 pounds already. I've always wondered why 7 has always held a place with me. That's my favorite number, and it has been since I was a kid, like as far as I can remember. Yeah, 7 is a godly number. 7 days in the week, 7 days that it took God to create, the infinite creator to create the universe, 7 chakras. There's a whole lot that revolves around the number 7. I've learned so much from you guys. That's why I'm still single right now. Sorry, I think. I don't know what to say to that. Being single isn't negative at all. It means you value yourself. Yes, it does. It means that you have your standards, right? You're not going to accept less than from somebody. Guys, when you truly love yourself and you honor that love and you honor your boundaries, when you find somebody that can come into your life and nuzzle into that space and not bring drama or conflict or ugly or hurt, it changes the way that you live your life and relationships. You will find a really, truly beautiful thing. Peaches just sent me a text message, and I need to know if I paid her credit card off. I think I did. God, I hope I did. Yep, I did. Go me. Fuck yeah. You're not taking less than what you deserve. Yep. So glad I caught you on a live today, Australian. My values have flipped 180 degrees since I started on the Better Myself path. Massive thanks to you and Peaches for waking me up out of the hyperbole. I love that. Peaches and I are going to start doing live streams at nighttime, like our time. So it'll be like between 6 and 8 o'clock of your time. Probably this weekend. We're going to do one every other Saturday will be a public live, and every other Saturday will be a Patreon only live. Y'all definitely made my boundaries shoot up through the roof, has made it harder to find my people. I'll get there though. Well, it's quality over quantity, right? Would you rather have 100 pennies or 4 quarters? That matters, guys. If you are looking for genuine people, not everybody is going to mesh your vibration. That was last night's church service, is all about vibration. People operate at different frequencies. People have different distortions and polarities, and they have different things that they're going through in life. And not everybody is meant to fucking ride with you for a long time. Some people are meant to come into your life for a short amount of time, teach you something, or you teach them something, and then go about their life. Too many people fucking hang out for a little bit, like each other, and try to build a fucking life around something that's not real. They end up getting to the point where they fuck, and now, maybe now there's a kid, or they move in too soon, and now they're sharing bills, and it's easier to live. The amount of relationships that I know personally in real life that are together solely for the financial aspect, who have both admitted that, like, blows my fucking mind. I would rather live in my car than be put in a position where I'm miserable. I understand that the relationship that I have with my wife is very, very rare. Like, I fucking know that what we have is very unique. And because I know what I have, I would never settle for less than this. Ever. I would rather be alone, because I've experienced what this is and know what true love feels like. And not just to be in love, but to truly be loved, right? It changes the way that you view the world. It really does. It's been something that I've been learning, that concept of not everyone is not meant to be in your life forever. They're really not. I view life as if you're walking on a hiking path, there's going to be people that are going to maintain your gait, meaning your stride, for a little while. And sometimes you'll find people that when you stop to take a breath, they're going to stop and take a breath with you. And other people are going to fucking go do the thing and go on without you. And that's just the way it goes. There's a saying when people hike the Appalachian Trail, they say to hike your own hike. It's not about how fast you get it done. It's not about what you do while you're there. It's about living your life the way that you want to live it while you're hiking that hike. Yeah. Yeah. Last week was a week that I had to let my man put his shield down and carry it for him. I'm so grateful that you and Peach, that I can be his woman and be there for him like this. That's fucking gangster. What an honor. Like, what a fucking honor that is. When you guys think about that, like, I know that there's a whole lot of narrative around feminism and men shouldn't be vulnerable, and we shouldn't talk to our person and let them know what's going on, and we're supposed to be stoic and tough and da-da-da-da-da. But, like, to have somebody love you enough to be vulnerable and, like, allow that to come out, and for you to actually hold that space and pick that shield up, like, that is such an honorable thing. I bet your life is stronger because of it. I'm willing to bet that your relationship has deepened because of it. It's crazy that the person I lost was in my life for 11-ish years, and I was so deceived. Really trying to put the situation aside and move on. It hurts, I bet. Oh, Bree Miller. I didn't know that your shit ended. What? Didn't we do a live call with you guys? I'm sorry that that's a thing. I didn't know that you guys split. Sat down here this morning and journaled, and I really think that I'm going to do another men's retreat. I don't know when we're going to be able to do it. We have Greece and Bali in May, and then she's got her retreat next month, which is like 2 weeks. We have Greece and Bali in May. June, we're taking the kids on a road trip. July, we're going to Montana. And then I think we have ceremony in August. I know that a lot of people have wanted to go into the medicine with us. It's been a very big discussion in the Discord server for Patreon. A lot of people have not hubby. Okay, good. Whew, good. I'm glad. I was very worried that you guys split. I'm so glad that wasn't the case. Anyways, we have ceremony in August. If you guys would like to come and sit in ceremony with us, the ceremony is available on the website. You just have to become a member of the church and fill out the documents. And we will be doing 2 ceremonies that weekend. On Friday, we'll be doing a smaller ceremony to assess tolerances. And then Sunday morning, we'll be doing a daytime ceremony that's going to be a deeper dive for those who want to go deeper. And we are really doing the thing. So you can't be true to your purpose and not do another one. I don't agree. I actually really don't agree. I think that I'm serving my community the best way that I can. I think that the stress that comes along with doing the men's groups and trying to sell things, and like, I don't want to be a salesman, right? I got to be honest. If I was rich, like if Peaches and I were able to live off the interest of our life, I would do all the things that we're doing, all of these retreats and shit. I would just do them. I'd just do them. I would just, eat the cost of it, write it off on my taxes, or, whatever, and do the whole thing, It's a lot. I'll be at the August ceremony. If y'all need helpers, I may go into the medicine as well. I think you should go into the medicine. I think that space would be good for you. My current relationship has been so much better and easier after leaning to open up to my partner compared to past relationships where looking back, communication was a huge issue. Of course it was. You got to be able to talk to your person. You guys can't expect life to move forward if you're not fucking talking about what's going on. I have thought about my core values some, and I've written a couple down, I think. Is there like an exhaustive list? I'll send you some shit on Facebook. Send me a message on Facebook, bro, and I will send you the things that I had at the men's retreat that we just did, and I can give you those documents. I think it'll help you. You are helping. Please try to understand the impact that you have in people's lives. I'm aware that we are teachers. IT guy and I just had this discussion this morning. There was the word healer got brought up, and it struck a fucking nerve for me, and I had to process with him over why that bothered me. And I like the term medicine man. I like the term shaman, facilitator, guardian, guide, teacher. But I'm not a healer. Like I don't believe that's what I do. I don't believe that therapists are healers. I believe that they are the Home Depot for mental health. They are there to provide tools for you, but you are the medicine. You're the one that has to do the work to fix yourself. You can go to Home Depot and buy everything that you need to build a chicken coop. And when you get home, that chicken coop's not going to get built unless you build it. So like, this is the way that I view my life. My calling is service to others, to make sure that others have the things that they need, the information that I've already got to give them freely. And then beyond that is to help. Like I'm supposed to hold space and protect. So I would even take protector over healer. But I know that we're making change. I know that we're making change. I see it. I would give my coaching for free if it wasn't so mentally exhausting. The mental exhaustion doesn't fuck with me. I would just limit how many people that I take on. I actually just gave every man that went to my men's retreat access to the men's group for free. I don't know how long I'll give it to them, but for right now, like they've got it because I know that those guys are actually doing the work and I'm seeing the change. And seeing those guys because they actually know each other, like lifting each other up in the chat and fucking challenging each other and listening is it's massive. It's such a cool experience. And I got to facilitate that environment and get to watch these relationships bloom. That's the fruits of my labor, right? So it's really dope. Really dope. I'm looking forward to the October ceremony. I'm looking forward to you coming to the October ceremony. I think that we're going to go to the Olympia in September. and go to Vegas for the weekend and spend at least a weekend, if not a whole week in Vegas. That's a whole last thing too, because we have the kids out of school now. We're with us pulling them from school, what we do. If we bring Carrie, we can go to the Olympia. Peaches and I can actually go to the Olympia for the weekend and leave the kids with Carrie while we're there, and then we can all go and see Vegas together. Teacher seems accurate. Have taught me a lot. Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I do appreciate that validation, because that's really how I felt when that healing thing got brought up this morning. Yep. What an honor that is, right? To be called a teacher, to have enough life experience and wisdom to be able to impart that onto somebody else so that they can improve their life. What a fucking cool thing, man. What an absolute fucking honor that is. I have almost 2 years clean, and I really want to explore microdosing. It's a tough call for me, but I've seen how healing it can be. I absolutely understand your concern. I implore you to do some research, because it's non-addictive. There have been a lot of people who have gotten off of drugs, and they have changed their life because of that. The founder of AA at one point tried to use psychedelics to, as part of Alcoholics Anonymous, to get people to quit drinking, because the founder did one LSD dose and quit drinking with no side effects. There was no DTs, there was no puking. Like, he did a single dose and it completely cured his alcoholism. And he tried so hard, and the government shut him down. He ended up moving to Canada to try to continue to push for that, and it just never did its thing. We'll be there. Hopefully I'll have someone on stage. We'll see. I think you will. I think you will. You have people that are in your life now that are starting to like comment and react, like from the IFBB platform, that are starting to interact with us on Instagram. And as a fan of bodybuilding and like powerlifting and strongman, and like from an outside perspective, I am a fan, right? Like, I did the coaching thing for a while in terms of like nutrition and workout routines, because I owned a gym, but I never got into that world on the level of like professional athletes. So like, when I met Brian Shaw, it was fucking crazy. Kai Green, Ronnie Coleman, like being able to actually just have quick conversations. I got to meet Dallas McCarver before he died. Like, all of that was really cool for me. So like, I appreciate you sending these people over to our channel and actually seeing them interact and comment and shit's really dope. Anytime I see a blue check mark on a comment, I always go check to see who it is. Protector and guide is what I think for you. Healer and restorer for Peach. The only reason that I would accept healer for Peach is because of Reiki. If she was a massage therapist, if she was doing Reiki, if she was doing active release therapy, if she was doing even Qigong, Tai Chi, chakra balancing, that I could view as like a healing modality. She does have sound healer certification, so in that aspect, I agree for healing. But for me, I'll take protector and guide. I also will take medicine man, because I have an affinity for plant medicine that is far surpassed what most people have. And I have an understanding of it, both on a growing, how to make, how to do. There's a lot there for me. Peaches will tell you the same thing. Anybody that's ever actually met me in person, that's interacted with me for more than 5 minutes, in real life, will tell you that I am the mushroom. I have an affinity for plant medicine. I do view myself as a medicine man in that aspect. She has her pro debut in 12 days, and she can win a ticket to the O if she wins her class. I love that. The real Lois Lane. That's actually who I was talking about. I saw her comment on something the other day. It's weird. I want to follow all of these people back because I'm into bodybuilding, but I don't want it to look like I'm following half-naked women on the internet. So there's a weird, like, I understand that I'm following them because I'm a fan of bodybuilding. And like, people will never say anything about the half-naked men that we follow. But they will absolutely say something about the women. So I don't follow back for that reason, which is really fucking stupid, but it's still a concern for our platform. I sent an email a week ago. Y'all answer, which made me giddy, giving a pinprick with some of the things that you have helped me. There are other ways with ways which both of you have helped me and still are. So I love that. She adores you guys. Well, we may get to meet her in September. I'm waiting on the VIP tickets to come out. As soon as the Olympia emails me and tells me that those tickets are there, we will determine how much of that will go there. I would like to be able to do the meet the Olympians, the VIP like silver or higher. I want to be able to go and meet the I don't even know who's competing anymore. Like, it's been so long since I've really truly followed that, like, unless there's old heads there, like the older guys, I may not even know who's really competing. It's really cool the approach both of you have taken to help people. I vibe with it all. I love that. I'm glad that you guys are finding value here. I don't know how long I've been live. Hour and 17 minutes. I'll go for another 20 minutes or so, and then I'm gonna wrap up. My biggest concern with microdosing is the fact that I am such a lightweight with everything else that I would get dosed too much and have a bad time. Well, I have an entire dosing guide in the church Discord. So if you join the church's Patreon, you can go in there and go to the dosing and discernment, and it will break down all of it, how it works. It will give you a very comprehensive approach, and you start really, really, really fucking low, and then you build up. And the moment you start to feel even a little bit of giddiness, you back off one step, and that's your dose. You should never feel a microdose. If you have any type of visuals, if you find yourself giggling, if you have, for me, whenever I feel the come up of any type of plant medicine, I always feel like a tension. If I feel that tension even a little bit, I knew I took too much. So like, I also know my doses, and I know, like, if I've not microdosed for 5 months, like, I need to start much lower than what it was when I stopped microdosing. But even then, if you're doing the Fadiman protocol, which is every third day, it doesn't build a tolerance. So, do you have resources to obtain it as well, or is that on us to find by state? I'm just going to say that it would be in your best interest to join the Discord. I'm working on a couple of things right now behind the scenes. One of them is the Guardian program, because a lot of people want to sit on the other side of the medicine. And Peaches and I are doing a call tonight at 7:30 with a friend of ours to dry run the Guardian document. And if it goes well, then we will do a Guardian program where it'll be like a limited number of spots that we do. It'll go up. We'll probably sell this one because it's going to actually require us to sit down on a Zoom call and take questions and like properly teach. But we're going to do a Guardian program. Once the Guardian program is finished, the next thing is going to be doing a minister program, because ministers of our church are able to serve sacrament, and we would be able to do, I don't know how to word that right now, and I don't want to say anything that's going to put us in a legal predicament, but when that becomes a thing, ministers are able to transport sacrament, and they are able to give each other genetics. Once they become ministers, they'll be able to actually grow their own sacrament. There's a whole lot that goes into all of that. When we get to that point and we have a minister program set up and people are able to actually run through the minister program, getting sacrament will be real easy, because if you live in like Tennessee, for example, Belle's there. If Belle becomes a minister of the church and she has all of the sacrament at her house and it's locked up 3 locks, and like it's to our standards because we've already created that document, and people are in Tennessee and would like to go meet up with her to do ceremony, she would be able to provide sacrament. And it would be a here you go, right? It's got to be given. It can't be sold. There's a whole lot of things that we're putting into place there. I want to be able to get to the point where we're able to just mail this shit to people. But I know that there's a whole lot of things that I need to learn and understand before we get to that point. I would love that. After sitting with Alicia, I feel called to it. Everybody that goes into the medicine wants to do Guardian work. My biggest thing with people when they do the Guardian work is to understand that you are not doing anything. You're not a healer. You're not a guide. You are there to make sure that whoever is sitting in the sacrament is able to be 100% completely safe and have everything that they need. If they raise their hand, if they need help going to the bathroom, if they need a drink, if they throw up and you have to clean up that mess, like that is your duty to that person while they were in the medicine. And it is your sacred role, if you are somebody who takes sacrament, to be able to give that back. It's like a pay it forward kind of thing, right? It's such a cool thing. Such a cool thing. Funny, I already have a grow house. You would need, I saw your grow house. You would need something different than that. Really need to get my passport. I'd love to take some in the special events with you guys. The ceremonies are available. We have one in August and one in October. 22 acres. If you had tents or yurts or like cabins built out there, I would totally bring the fucking RV and we could come up there and hold ceremony on your property. It'd be so easy. They would just, people would need tents. If people wanted to do a bring their own tent, and Peaches and I were able to stay in the RV, we could come up there and do a single night ceremony. They would just you'd have to have a fire pit. We would have to figure out some sort of compensation for the integration process and the food and all of that stuff. But like, it would be way cheaper than what we're doing because we just rented an 11-acre farm that has 4 cabins that have 8 bunks in each cabin. And one of those cabins is dedicated to guardians and people who are helping. So we really technically only have 3, but those 3 cabins provide 24 beds plus the tents that we bring. So we have, if every single spot at the October retreat sells out, we'll have 24 people going into the medicine with us while we're there, which would be really cool. All right, guys, my back is starting to cramp up. Just want to remind everybody that there is a bunk available at the women's retreat in April if you would like to go. My ex left an 8x8 Mylar grow tent in my storage unit I never got rid of. Well, that's one part of it. And then you got to get heaters. You got to get lights. You have to get bends. You have to get coco coir and vermiculite. You need a sterile air box or a flow hood. You need live genetics. Growing is really fucking easy. Really fucking easy. And when we get minister programs, guess who's going to be teaching the minister shit? Our current ceremonies plan still available. Yeah, there's a lot of spots left. August and October. I want to say that because we're doing a men's bunk, a women's bunk, and then a co-ed bunk so that people who are coming as couples can co-ed bunk. And we're hoping to sell all of them. But right now, I think that the co-ed bunk for the October retreat only has 3 beds available. And then maybe I'm wrong on that. There's still a lot of spots available. If you go to click the link at the top of this that I pinned, it'll take you to the website. Once you join, you can see the ceremonies tab and you can get the information there. All the food is included for the weekend. Integration is included for the weekend. There will be sound healing, qigong, integration. This is an entire weekend based around spiritual balancing and healing. You guys can come to the retreats if you want to without even taking sacrament. Like, because the sacrament's not part of what you're paying for. That's something that we are including as like for members of the church. You do have to be a member of the church to go because it is a church event, but you don't have to actually partake in the sacrament if you don't want to. So that's even cool, You'll still be able to take part in the qigong, the breath work, the guided meditation, the sound healing, the good food, the camaraderie, and then integration, because the integration will still help you guys. But I'm out, guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. I will see you guys probably tomorrow when we go live at some point.